Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the good times and the bad times that may be. Let's talk about sex. So today we're going to talk about sex and spirituality. Controversial subject because a lot of people sometimes they don't like to hear the word sex. So there's two elements to sex. There's the ego and there's the soul. Ego wants to take, receive. Ego is that part of the individual that goes, keep doing that. I want to take. I like it when you do that. Keep doing this, now do this, now do that. Now the soul wants to share. The soul wants to be like, do you like that? What else can I do? What can I do for you? Not in a Boston accent, of course. But you know what I mean? So those are the two dichotomies. When sexuality of the ego wants to take, sexuality of the soul wants to share. Now, I broke it down also into various different areas. The soul wants to share, grow, empathy, and is aware of consequence, is aware of connection, and patience. Those are the things that, because the soul and all those are unified into one being, and it's almost like a beautiful network that has been crafted together and it's all unified. Whereas the ego, the elements of the ego are all over the place. They're not unified. They're disjointed. They're disassociated because that's what the ego is. It's about disjointed disassociation. So when you let's talk about the soul. So the soul wants to share, wants to give because it has that understanding. The more it shares, the more it receives. So because it has that great, amazing certainty, it wants to share more. So it knows that when it pleasures its partners, in not just a sexual way, but in an emotional way, in a psychological way, in every different way. Maybe doing the dishes, maybe taking care of the children, maybe, buying flowers, maybe the various different things, maybe getting them that thing that they really wanted, that they haven't asked for, or doing that thing that they haven't asked for. All those things. Those are things that you share because you understand that the more you share, the more you receive. So that comes from the soul, that certain sense of empathy. Grow, again, it's the unification with the sharing in the soul, because when you grow, you know that you're growing things. So whether you have a straight relationship and you're growing children, or you have a gay relationship, maybe you're adopting children and you're raising children, or you're starting a business, and even straight couples start, whatever it is that you're growing it together because there's an element of sharing, so you're tying it together. Empathy, when you're growing and you're sharing, you have the empathy, you understand, how you understand the feelings of the other person. These are all soul elements, and you're connected to the person. You're seeing the consequences of your effects. You have patience because you don't want to disturb the consequences of your effect. You don't want the consequences of certain reactive effects to occur. So all those things are occurred within the sexuality of the soul. When you're having sex with somebody, of course, you're thinking about empathy. You're thinking about how do they feel, how are they feeling, how are we connecting together. When you're thinking of consequences, what if, are they going to get pregnant? Are they not going to get pregnant? What if you have a disease? Are they going to get the disease, not get the disease? Will you sleep with somebody else? And then what's the consequences of that? So all those consequences are going through the mind of a person as they are aligned to their soul. Patience again, when you care about something, you have that element of patience. Maybe it takes them longer to, but you kind of like take your time, all right, we can, we're going to keep jabbing until you are satisfied. So all those things are the soul element. All those things are the soul element. Now the ego element, we'll talk about a little, it's in depth as well as the soul element. The ego wants to receive. The ego wants to be like, I want to get this done. I want to feel good. I want to have that peak, and I want to get it over with. The ego wants to destroy because it feels that, it can just move on. It has very little attachment. Now, like I said, no one, and don't associate like these people are all soul and these people are all ego. Everyone is various in different kind of degrees, and we're all one. We all have various degrees of both. So the ego is apathetic, whereas empathy, the ego is apathetic. The apathy is only caring about what they're feeling in themselves, within themselves, and that's it. What emotional, physical sensation is going on. The irresponsibility. The ego doesn't care about who it's harming, whether it's sleeping with somebody else, or whether it's carrying disease, or whether it's having or not having children. It has very little irresponsibility because, again, it only cares about itself. I guess there is a certain kind of unification when it comes to just caring about itself. The disconnection, because when you're irresponsible and you don't have responsibility, when you don't have apathy of other people, you create a disconnection with other people. you start severing those elements around you, and people start going away. The impatience, because the ego is riddled with uncertainty, whereas the soul is riddled with certainty. The impatience rots away at the relationship, the sexual relationship with any individuals, people having climaxing faster than other people being like, I want to get done kind of mentality. So that's sex. So there's two side dichotomies. There's the soul and the ego. Now the soul is a living force that has mana, has actual magical properties. It can keep you younger, keep you alive, it can heal you, it can do so much. But of course, it requires patience, it requires time, it requires understanding, it requires growth, it requires empathy, consequences, connection, sharing, all those elements. So it requires work, and we are not necessarily wired. Now, some people say we're wired for our ego. It's like, no, we're not. We're wired for both. But we're not necessarily, we're more wired to our ego, because our ego is what controls our physical manifestation. Our soul literally is light. A soul is literally light. It has a certainty. I mean, a soul can do anything. If we can align completely at 100% to our soul, I mean, there's really no stopping to the imagination of the soul, because the soul is completely aligned to the oneness of the light of the Creator. So that's Messiah consciousness. That's when you're getting into that Messiah consciousness, walking on water, lifting up buildings, Superman stuff, that kind of thing. But the ego is rots, destroys in order to feed, in order to rebuild. It destroys in order to rebuild, but that's its only programming. Programming is not to rebuild, it just destroys so that it makes way for the soul to come in and be able to flourish. So when you align yourself to the ego consciousness and the ego mentality, within sexuality, it just kind of rots away at your core and your being. Now, various different teachings, like I said earlier, the whole situation about semen and people utilizing semen as a tool of power. And yes, there's a great deal of energy that happens with semen. So Genghis Khan, for instance, didn't have his men have sex or masturbate for several days before they went into war. Also kombucha, a little plug for kombucha, in order to receive that energy, in order to receive that. And throughout various cultures, those elements have happened. What I recommend is that before you have sex and before you go on and move forward, and because sex is one of those things where you can easily fall into that reactive moment where you can just switch over and be like, oh, I don't want to do it now. So it's like it's almost like you have to put the reins on yourself and hold yourself back. And the way that you can do it is through education, information, association, spirituality, meditation, because sex is the most powerful prayer that can be done either for darkness or for light. Dun, dun, dun. And it is your responsibility to yourself to kind of know the difference as to what you're doing and when you're doing it and why you're doing it. So do you want something more for yourself? I know that I want something more for yourself. So I'm seeking to utilize the tools even further than I have before. I want to wish you all a wonderful year. Do you like my sex talk? And let me know your comments in the section down below, and I will respond to them accordingly. Take care.